Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video on the Will's Health YouTube channel. And in this one we're going to go over some foundational stuff that I use to help heal my IBS. And I'm not going to waste too much time, I want to go straight into it. Just before we do that though, who is this video for? This is for people who are struggling with, if I can zoom in, who are struggling with kind of general gut health issues and also just IBS. People who want to relieve their symptoms or want to regain freedom and not let their symptoms control their life. If that sounds like you, then this video is probably going to be good for you. And if that doesn't sound like you, then you can maybe click off or you can stay. It's up to you. And why should you listen to me? Well, I had IBS for many years, mainly because of antibiotics and stress and a host of things that kind of just created an awful environment. And it wasn't fun. And you can see from the pictures here, kind of dramatic change that I've had from having brain fog, anxiety, and abdominal pains, bloating, everything wrong with my digestive system, now to a place where I pretty much get no symptoms. IBS doesn't control my life. I don't really get any issues. And now I'm in a fortunate position where I now teach other people the ways that I did and the framework which I use to help heal their IBS and similar gut health issues as well. So hopefully that excites you, that you actually can heal from IBS. And without further ado, I kind of want to just get straight into it. This is going to be quite foundational stuff. Hopefully you guys can kind of understand it. But the main purpose of this video is for you to understand that there's a lot more to gut health than you might think. A lot of the conventional advice is very narrow, and this is why I have a kind of iceberg here. A lot of the conventional advice is just the tip of the iceberg. You have to go a lot deeper to truly heal your IBS. And it doesn't get too complex. It's just understanding that there is a lot more to it than just a low FODMAP diet and a random supplement here and there. You have to truly understand what you're doing and address all the different pillars to truly heal. Now, the equation which I use to help people heal and help myself heal is physical gut healing plus nervous system regulation equals recovery. And if you combine those two elements, then you will see a lot of improvements. If we talk about the physical gut first, I kind of want to talk to you guys through this. I have explained this in another video and gone a little bit more detail, so maybe you can watch that. But I'll just go over it a little bit quickly. A lot of people tell me, look, Will, I've changed my diet and I'm still getting gut health issues. Yeah, because you have to do stuff for the physical gut, because you might have an issue with your gut lining or your stomach acid, or something's going wrong physically with your gut, and you have to address that with different supplements and lifestyle changes and many different things to truly heal. In terms of the physical gut healing section, I'm going to go over what that might include now. That's going to include things like your gut bacteria. So for me, for example, I had gut dysbiosis because of antibiotics. And what gut dysbiosis is, it's an imbalance of gut bacteria. So there's three types. There's a lack of beneficial bacteria, lack of diversity, and also an overgrowth of harmful bacteria. With antibiotics, you usually just wipe out all your good bacteria. Not all, but a significant amount. So you're going to have a lack of diversity and a lack of beneficial. Now, in my case, for example, of course, all these pillars were at play here, but let's use this one. I took antibiotics, so my gut bacteria was messed up. So even when I was having rice and eggs, I was still getting bloating because I wasn't going deep enough. I wasn't focusing on the other aspects. I thought, oh, it's just diet, just low FODMAP diet. And these things work, but to truly heal, you need to go a lot deeper. So, of course, gut bacteria is really important. Your motility, the way or how fast your stool moves through your body, is really important. And you need to be going at least once a day, in my opinion. Any less than that, I would class it as mild constipation. Probably no more than 3 times a day, but it can differ for everyone. Where's my pen, by the way? Oh, it's here. Yeah, so 1 times a day is good, maybe slightly more. Your gut lining, the integrity of your gut lining is really important. You might have something called leaky gut, which essentially just means you have these tight junctions between your cells and your gut lining, and these can become more permeable. Basically, they become wider, and they allow certain proteins to go into the bloodstream, which shouldn't be there. Your body then freaks out, produces antibodies, and causes systemic inflammation. And that can cause all sorts of issues. Bloating and systemic inflammation can cause many things you don't want. So hopefully you're starting to understand now that, oh, there are many aspects to the gut that I need to address. So if you knew that you had leaky gut, most people do, you would then start doing things for that. You might introduce slippery elm to soothe and coat the gut lining, a really, really great herb. You might learn what's the biggest thing that's causing leaky gut. Gluten is a big culprit. Glyphosate, the compound that's found in herbs, herbicides and pesticides, the things that spread on crops. Glyphosate is really bad for the gut lining. So you need to maybe think about organic produce if that's not something you're doing already. Another thing to look at is your stomach acid levels. If you've been taking PPIs or acid suppressing drugs for years, you're gonna suppress your stomach acid, and this can cause a whole host of issues. You're gonna start producing less enzymes. You need an acidic stomach, a pH of 1 to 3. You need a sufficient amount of stomach acid, otherwise your digestion is not going to go very well. And if you have low stomach acid, then you're going to not be able to digest your food properly. That's going to ferment, cause gas, bloating. Not fun. You're not going to be able to break down these proteins into amino acids. You can't absorb nutrients properly. You end up getting deficiencies like B12, folate, iron, all these things. Very, very common when people have gut issues, is they get these kind of deficiencies. So again, hopefully you're starting to understand that, oh, it's a little bit more than just diet. There's a physical aspect, my whole physical body. I need to do stuff to look after these pillars. And again, you might not have every single one. You might only have an issue with maybe your stomach acid, but they usually interact with each other. So for example, if your gut bacteria is messed up, that's going to cause an issue for your gut lining. If your gut lining is going to be messed up, that's going to cause an issue for stomach acid and enzymes. So they all kind of interlink anyway, but just separating them makes it a little bit easier. Also, your liver and your gut, very much interlinked. Your liver and your gut axis. Your liver also produces bile, which is how we digest fats. Also, bile is antimicrobial in the short intestine. So if you're getting anything like SIBO, then there might be an issue with your bile production. It might be sluggish, might not be going very well. And again, this can also be an issue if you have your gallbladder removed. That's a whole other thing, if that's a surgical thing that you've done. So, of course, hydration, very important. Like if you're not getting hydrated, that's like bare minimum. Also, electrolyte balance. I like to add a unrefined salt to things, to water. So like a Celtic salt, really good for getting your calcium, potassium, and balancing your electrolytes. Mental and emotional health, that kind of links in with nervous system. So I guess we'll go over that a little bit. But of course, if you're extremely anxious, extremely depressed, this can also play its role on the gut. But it's tricky because anxiety and the gut have a bioreactional relationship. So they cause each other. So if you have anxiety, that can cause gut issues. But if you have gut issues, that can cause anxiety. That's where it gets a bit tricky. Very common, but you have to address both of them together. Lifestyle foundation, of course, like you can be like, oh, I'm doing all the right things for here, and I don't know, you're eating the perfect diet, whatever that may be. But if you're not sleeping good and you're out late and you're on your phone all day and you're not grounding, not getting sunlight, then obviously that can cause issues as well. And there's also this element of detoxing as well, which goes a little bit deeper. But if you have toxicity in terms of heavy metals or mold or things like that, that's also going to play its effect on the gut. So ideally you would heal your gut first and then you do some detoxing stuff after that. Don't get too scared about this. And detox is very much a buzzword, and people try to do this cleanse and detoxing, and sometimes can be a waste of money and can be more dangerous. Obviously, detoxing is huge. Detoxing is something that people need to do, but sometimes companies and individuals capitalize on this detox word and get you to do things that aren't really true. But detoxing is definitely something you need to be looking into. But I would first focus on the gut, make sure the gut is thriving. You haven't got leaky gut, nice and solid there, and then you can go into detoxing. But yeah, that's a whole other realm, a whole other video that I can go into. So these are kind of the physical things. There are more to it than this, but this is now looking a little bit deeper into the iceberg. Oh, maybe you didn't think of how important your gut lining was. Maybe that's an issue. Maybe you didn't think about your stomach acid. Maybe you thought it was just diet, and you're like, oh, I've been changing diets but not seeing much relief. Well, you need to go a little bit deeper, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to go into each one of these a little bit more. If you want my help, please let me know which one you're looking into. If you want more support on your gut lining, of course, I have videos on my TikTok as well, which help you kind of address these issues. But you can just let me know which one you want for me to go over. And of course, you have to pair that with nervous system regulation. Now, if on a very basic level, you have two sides of it, right? You have, I'm not going to write it because the handwriting on here is going to be awful. It's rest and digest. You might have heard of this. Rest and digest, and also fight or flight. Now, if you're in constant fight or flight, your body is not going to prioritize digestion. We can see here, when you're in fight or flight, you're going to be, the blood's going to go to your brain and your lungs to pump the blood, and your adrenals to pump cortisol and make sure your pupils are dilated, and it's going to have other priorities. It doesn't really care about digestion. So if you're constantly in this fight or flight state where you're constantly stressed and you're doing things not good for your nervous system, like listening to loud music and doom scrolling and blue light before bed and everything you could possibly think of to keep you in this stressed and wired state, listening to news all the time and that kind of side of things, that can really play an effect on its digestion. So, of course, we're thinking about the physical stuff here, but the reason you might have low stomach acid or some issues with your gut bacteria might be because of the nervous system. And this is exactly why I say you need to pair these two things together, and that's when you really see really great benefits. So, being in a rest and digest state is really important. Now, this is obviously a lot deeper than what I'm explaining. Again, it requires a whole other video, but I'm just trying to get you to think and understand. If you're in a chronically stressed state, let's say that this is stress, right? This is your level of stress. People have different baselines level of stress, and then a healthy level of stress is you're going up and down. Realistically, you're going to have moments of maybe you have a presentation due at work and you're really stressed. That's fine. Like, it's acute stress. That's fine. Your body needs to have that stress to be able to perform well. But when it gets a problem is when you have this up bit of stress and you don't go back down. All right, you don't regulate the stress. That's when it's an issue, and you constantly stay at this high stress state. That's when you're in this chronically stressed mode. That's when you can never actually get into a rest and digest state, what we call the parasympathetic state. When you can't really get into that and your body's stuck in a stress state, that's when we start to see issues. Because the most important time to be in a rest and digest state is around meals. So if you're not in a rest and digest state around meals, that's going to cause some problems. Because when you're in this state, then your body will sorry, I can't do words. When you're in this relax and digest state, your body's going to release stomach enzymes and stomach acid and everything it needs to function best for digestion. Does that make sense? So being in a relaxed and digest state is really important. I've been talking all day, by the way, so like my words are being mumbled as hell, but as hopefully you guys understand this, even if my English is not great today. But essentially, even if you are in this chronically stressed state, I want to give you some tangible stuff that you can start doing. If you feel like you're in this chronically stressed state, the best thing that you can do is try and calm your nervous system around the meals. So before you eat, do some breathing practice. Alternative nasal is really good. You can just do longer exhales and inhales. That's going to calm the nervous system down. Maybe not long term, but just short term around meals. So you can have these dips in stress. You can calm your nervous system down when you're eating. That would be like number one. That's assuming that you're chronically stressed as well, which unfortunately most people are. That is the very basic of the nervous system. Very basic. And if you're not in a relaxed and digest state, your digestion is going to be bad. This is why a lot of people say my stomach gets worse. Stomach gets worse when I leave the house, or there's different things that can have an effect here. So again, we need to go a little bit deeper and think of the physical gut, stuff we can do to physical gut, but also look after the nervous system. Make sure you're not doing, heavy music and HIIT workouts and caffeine and all these stuff that stimulates us and gets us in a stress state, pumping cortisol. Then our digestion just goes out the window. That's not what we want. So we want to balance the two. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's exactly what I do and what I help my clients to do to really see results with IBS. It's really powerful stuff once you really understand what you know what you're doing. And if you feel like you're a little bit overwhelmed, hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what you need to start looking into. But if you want more direct help, then just go into my link down below and I can help you directly with this stuff. I can really understand your situation and give you some practical stuff you can start doing. There's a video that you can watch, learn a little bit more about me and how I can help you, and we can get you sorted if that's something that you're interested in. Apart from that, any questions, please leave them down below. Hopefully you got some value from this video. If you want me to go more over the nervous system or a certain bit about the physical gut, then please let me know and I can do that for you. But yeah, I think that's it. But simply just calm the nervous system down, especially around meals, and you'll see really good benefits. Sometimes that's just enough for people, just to calm down. Don't be watching TV, ideally. I mean, I know what we'll do, but try not to. Don't be answering work emails. Just try to sit, be present with the meal, relax. That will benefit you so much more than most things. So keep it simple. Gut health is simple, and that's it. But that's it, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. But that's it from me today. Any suggestions on videos, like I say, leave them down below. If you want my help, that's in the bio. But yeah, until next time, guys. Bye.